Baden, this last year or so has seen, if you like, certainly from the outside, an increase in activism and the voice of Ngāti Kahungunu. And we've
Hmm.
obviously, with a national government that has taken quite, because of their partners, ACT and New Zealand First, taken quite a strong line on issues that are dear to you and your iwi in terms of language and also in terms of the treaty. Has this been an active decision to become more, have more of a voice, not only for the area and the iwi, but for the Maori nation, if you like?
Mm. Well, I think it is. We hosted the motu. We had Kingi Tuhei here, bring the motu onto Omahu, and that was around talking about kotahitanga. Our ancestor, Harawira Mahikai from Waimarama, signed the treaty along with Te Hapuku and Wani Waikato from Ngāti Kahungunu, Ngāti Whatiapiti. And so we are children of the treaty. The treaty is a valuable to our papa foundational document for Aotearoa, not just for Māori, for Aotearoa. And so we see the introduction of the Treaty Principles Bill as a direct attack on that, the tapu of that document, and its intentions and its aspirations. So yeah, we've what we've been saying is that Māori, iwi Māori, sometimes governments are good, sometimes they're not so good, but no matter which government's there, they're never going to meet the aspirations of Māori all of the time. They've got so many things that they're looking at, and often we get forgotten. But our message is that Māori together, collectively, is a really strong proposition. And when you stop looking at Wellington, start looking at ourselves, as I say, iwi are economic players, social players, cultural players. How do we build that house together, and then put us in a position of strength to engage with government? We're not forgetting government. Government's got a huge role to play. Local and central. We pay a huge amount of taxes. We pay a huge amount of rates. We have expectations on kāwanatanga. But hey, let's pull ourselves together. Let's organise our house first, and then go from there.
The hikoi from up north took a little bit of a detour and came down through Kahungunu and Hawke's Bay country and that. How was that? How did that go?
Yeah, really, really well. Big numbers turned out at the Hastings hikoi in Heretanga, over 7,000 to what I was told. Peaceful protest, coming together, and talking about the issue. So, yeah, I thought it went really well.
Are you concerned that this sort of what's happening now in the country has an edge to it and could become spillover, or are you confident that sort of common sense will prevail?
Yeah, I'm hopeful that common sense will prevail. I was at the hikoi in Pōneke here in Wellington. Yeah, it was a peaceful protest, big numbers, but there were no issues. There is a bit of an edge to some of the narrative, some of the rhetoric, but I think people need to understand that at the end of the day, we are one nation here in Aotearoa. The treaty is there to unite, not to divide. And, that's the message that the hikoi hopefully is given to the politicians. We need to leave the treaty alone. Leave the treaty. It's a sacred document. It was written in 1840, and the intentions were pure. And I think from both parties, we'll go to Waitaki in February and discuss those issues. But for a political party that has, yes, it's in government, but its actual mandate from its supporters is not that big, and you potentially could tear the country in two going down this track. And my thing is that they've given 6 months to consult on this bill, whereas sometimes they've only given 6 days for other bills that have gone through their house, and yet you're giving all this oxygen to David Seymour and his supporters. So I think we're at a very important time in our history and also in our future as Aotearoa. And my thing would be to the Kāwanatanga, to the Prime Minister actually, to kind of to rein it in. But it might be too late.
But do you think this bill will go through? I mean, does it have, if National said that they would only support her up to the first reading, do you think it's got any chance?
Well, you never know with politics, that's my concern about the 6 months. These things can grow legs and whatnot. So, I'd like it shut down as soon as possible, giving time to the first reading after all the submissions and things. I am concerned. I am hearing the Prime Minister saying, that's it. It won't go past the first reading. But, strange things happen in politics.
Yeah. You think that it's obviously created unnecessary turmoil by it even being allowed to get to the stage?
Yeah, totally. It shouldn't have been part of the coalition agreement. He should have said straight up from the beginning, no, I'm not taking our country down this path. You need to put that on the fire, but we can help you with maybe your education aspirations, etc. But that shouldn't have been entertained.
Have you had any direct conversations with David Seymour?
No, I haven't. I normally bump into politicians, when I'm in Wellington at different things. But we've never crossed paths. I wouldn't mind having a chat with him,
What would you say to him?
I'd just say what I just said to the people on this. I'd say, hey, I can see where you're wanting to take this, but it's actually quite dangerous for our nation. As a people moving forward, this is the best path to take.
Yeah.
We can talk about the treaty, but trying to alter the intent and the contents of the treaty, you've gone too far. And the Hikoi clearly showed to him that people aren't going to just sit there and watch it happen. Yeah.
Because no matter how small or large or whatever his support base is, and obviously he's a minor party, what do you say to people out there that actually agree with what he's saying and think that we do have an unequal society? What do you say to that?
I say, this is what I say. I say when the treaty was signed, between two nations, Māori and the Queen of England, representing her people. The intent is as it is in the treaty, that te mana o ngā rangatira and the kāwanatanga of the Queen of England would work together for the betterment of the nation. And so people are feeling like that they're not getting their fair share in New Zealand. I don't agree with that. 1840 was when the treaty was signed. 1841 was when the first breaches of the treaty happened, and every year following that, it just got worse and worse and worse. And we've had to pick up the pieces as Māori. And so we're actually starting from a position of weakness. And so people are feeling like they aren't getting what they think they need or want. You need to think about mana whenua and the painful journey that we've gone through for nearly 200 years. And hey, we're still picking up the pieces. We see the stats. We know that our life expectancy is still 10 years below that of Pākehā, and it shouldn't be in 2024, but it is. We don't have the same achievement in education, even though we want education. We know that education is so important for getting forward in this life. Yet a lot of our kids are dropping out as early as intermediate. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, because people tend to ignore the stats sometimes, but the stats show that Māori are there in high proportions on all the negative stats.
Yeah. There's a bigger picture, and that's what David Seymour. He's not looking at that. He's saying, hey, if you come from Pakistan, you come over here, you have as much as a right as me, Māori tangata whenua, in terms of, and the thing with his message is that people can buy into that quite easily, but they don't see the whole context of what's happening.
Yeah.
So that's a danger.
Yeah. Do you feel like the Māori nation and your iwi are a bit under attack at the moment? Because we've got the changes to language, we've got the government looking at Māori wards, we've got what's happened in health, and we've got the bill on the treaty. Do you feel like this is sort of a coordinated sort of operation aiming at maybe taking a bit of power away from Māori?
Yeah, totally. I think it's a plan that has been put in place, quite intentional and quite deliberate. And we've seen in the last 18 months, government policy changes, and it's actually taken away from improving our outcomes, Māori outcomes, impacts on education, on language, on treaty relationships. I was at a farewell last night for the CEO of Te Arawhiti. That whole government department's been disbanded, and people are no jobs now. But the intention, I guess, of that government department was to ensure that the relationship between the treaty partners was strong, was always moving forward together. And so, there's clear intent there from the government. They don't really care about that. They want to focus on other things. So, yep, we do feel like we're under attack. But, like I said earlier, we need to bring ourselves together as Māori. And we've been talking about building a house of rangatiratanga so that we can pull the best parts of us together, all of our different kaupapa, and then go to government collectively and say, hey, that's not on. I mean, we can do hikoi, and there's mobilisations that kind of send a message, but I think we need to be sending a very clear and articulate kōrero to the kāwanatanga about the future of Aotearoa.
Your profile certainly has been raised in all of this. What do you see the future for you? Continuing to do this and continuing to lead Ngāti Kahungunu, or is there another role? Is there a parliamentary role for you?
At the moment, I'm really I've been focused on getting Kahungunu into the strongest position as possible, and our elections come up next year. I'll probably need another term just to really bed it in. But in terms of the future, we'll see where that goes. At the end of the day, wherever I see that I can make a difference, that's probably where I'll go. Once I've done my job at our iwi and I think it's in the right path, I will hand that on to someone else. That's what I said I'd come in and do, and that's what we're doing. In terms of other aspirations, well, we'll think about that later on down the track.
But there will definitely be some involvement in politics, either mainstream or Māori politics, eh?
Well, yeah. Well, when you're an iwi chair, one of the biggest iwi of Aotearoa, politics is everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Whether it's here in Pornick in Wellington or at home, you know, I mean, yeah, we need to pull as much as we can out of Wellington. But again, I go back to what can we be doing? We've got powerful PSGs in Kahungunu that have settled. They've got aspirations. They've got assets. How do we work together to leverage all of that? How do we use our scale and our influence to get better results for our people? So yeah, it's an exciting kind of a journey, but it's challenging, very challenging at this time, especially.
Braden Barber, I know your schedule is very busy, so I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to Hawke's Bay app, and wish you well in the future and a good break over Christmas.
Kia ora, Andrew, and same to you, huh?
Thank you.
Kia ora.